Back in the day when you would buy a game, all you really needed to worry about was buying the game. That was it. The years went by, and when you went to buy a game, you had the option to buy the downloadable content, otherwise known as DLC, which gave you more stuff in the game like levels, maps, or characters, things like that, which cost an extra $40 depending on which game it was and how much of the DLC you wanted. DLC is a common thing now, and we are not surprised anymore if a video game has DLC. Things have changed now, and video games have a new money making process called microtransactions. Microtransactions are virtual objects that you buy with real money, like virtual money, skins, armor, weapons, power ups, or loot boxes. The difference between DLC and microtransactions is that DLC is only paid once. For example, you buy a character and you have it. Simple as that. With microtransactions, you pay real money to buy virtual money. And if you need more money to buy a virtual item, you buy some more virtual money with real money. It's a little bit more complicated, but hopefully you'll understand it by the end of the video. Microtransactions are not a good thing for gamers. Microtransactions are ruining games because of the amount of time it takes to earn items and how it makes games unfair. Microtransactions were originally made for free to play games for mobile so they can make money, but games that already cost $60 and that also have DLC are coming with microtransactions too, and developers have gone too far. It takes a lot of time to earn virtual money in some games. It can even take hours or even days. One of the games that were ruined by microtransactions are Grand Theft Auto 5. In Grand Theft Auto 5, in order to earn money, you have to do missions. There are multiple ways to earn money in the game, but out of all the ways, the fastest way is doing heists. The average amount of time that it takes to complete a heist is 4 hours if you have a good team, which gets you $300,000. This may sound like a lot, but in the game, most of the items cost about $1 million to afford any good vehicle, and this does not even include the upgrades. That means you have to do the heist 4 times to reach a million, which then gets you $1,200,000. But with microtransactions, you pay $20 and that gets you $1,250,000. To the developers of the game, 12 hours of your life is worth $20 to them. But what if you don't mind wasting 12 hours of your life? Then have fun playing with people who put in hundreds of dollars into the game, who have tanks, jets, and explosive bullets, who can kill you easily and as many times as they want. That is the problem with microtransactions. It makes the games unfair. But not all games with microtransactions are unfair though. One of the games that uses microtransactions and keeps the game fair is Overwatch. In Overwatch, you are not buying weapons, you are buying skins, highlight intros, or stickers. These items don't affect your gameplay, they are just there to make you look good. But you are not buying these items directly. They have a system called loot boxes. Loot boxes are a sort of gambling. By leveling up, you earn loot boxes, which gets you the items. This is sort of gambling because there are different levels of rarity. There are common, rare, and legendary. And the coolest items are legendary, which are rare to get. And if you don't get what you want, you wasted your time. But even in a fair game, microtransactions can still be annoying. There are two ways to earn loot boxes. You level up, which takes about 2 hours, or you play the arcade and win 9 matches, which gets you 3 loot boxes, and this takes 3 hours. But with microtransactions, you can buy 2 loot boxes for $2. So even in fair games like Overwatch, it still takes quite a bit of time to get loot boxes. And even when you earn or buy these loot boxes, you are not assured the items that you want for your character. and then you have to continue playing until you get it. You see, microtransactions are ruining video games because it takes too much time to earn virtual objects. GTA and Overwatch are not the only ones doing this. There are hundreds of other games that use microtransactions and want us to spend more money on a dumb game that we already rightfully paid for. Microtransactions are not only ruining video games, they are also making certain games harder or even impossible for people who don't pay for microtransactions. In games like Injustice 2, when you go into the multiverse to get new gear, they put you against level 30 AI with overpowered armor, and if you don't have good armor, it is impossible to beat them. And of course, you can buy mother boxes to get good armor. So not only is microtransactions making you grind, but it is also making games harder. This leads me to ask the question, do we really enjoy playing games like this? Back in the day, you would at least have variety in levels and it was easier to get that upgrade that you wanted, so you would have less grind and more fun, and games were more enjoyable. Developers nowadays aren't as scared anymore if a game doesn't sell because they rely on microtransactions and they don't even bother giving variety anymore. And they expect you to play the same game mode over and over. One of the companies that does this is EA. They release the same game of FIFA every year. All they do is make the graphics slightly better and make the mechanics of the game slightly better, making people think that this year's one is better than last year's. The problem with microtransactions is that it is not going to go away. An article by Intelligent Economist states that only 0.15% of people who play games with microtransactions account for 50% of the revenue developers make. One might ask, what if games that don't have microtransactions just don't sell anymore? But that can't be the case because of the game God of War. It is proof that games don't need microtransactions to be successful. The game was claimed bestseller for the month of April, and it doesn't have microtransactions or DLC. So with games like God of War, it gives gamers hope that microtransactions are just a phase, and developers will realize that microtransactions are ruining their games for those who can't put money into the game. Microtransactions are ruining video games, and in order to stop them, we need to stop buying them. Because buying microtransactions is a waste of money because you're not buying anything. They are giving back to you what was rightfully yours, your time.